Greetings, everyone. We're here bringing today a wonderful, wonderful guest, and I would like to introduce you to the Honorable Ras Flako Tafari. He is live from Jamaica and has moved with Rastafari for many decades and has been someone who has authored beautiful, mindful works, publications for Wise Mind Publications. He's also a vice president of Word Sound Power Collective, and he is a valuable elder, part of Flako High Power, and he has been a very beautiful individual who's now an elder, and in Rastafari Word Sound Power, we would use the term ancient, or moreover, we would use the letter I and call, in respect, an ancient. So I'd like to introduce Ras Flako Tafari.
Rastafari.
Yes.
Wonderful greeting, Shaman. Give thanks for the blessings. Give thanks for the brilliant introduction. So many things I've been doing over the many years that you yourself are a part of, because you're a part of Wise Mind Publication. I give thanks for your contribution in every way, yes. There are many things that we could look at, but first, when I examine myself, because normally you look on yourself, how you come into earth, how you were born, what are the situations that you were born in. Some people don't have the time, but I took time to examine my life from day one.
Yeah.
And I realized that my introduction was a one-night stand between my mother and father. It was a session they met, and the sexual energy and vibrations, mom got pregnant, my father disappeared. There was no love between mom and dad. There was no love. So I end up being nurtured by my great-grandmother, my uncle, and my grandmother. So I have a different experience from most ones who did not grow up with brothers nor sisters, who did not grow up with cousins, nieces and nephews. I grow as an independent mind, growing strong on my own, trying to discover myself, trying to find ways and means to survive. So in that journey, I learned so many things of how people behave, how people react, how people characters are shaped. I was not indoctrinated in any form. I was not given no guidance what to do and what to do. I learned from my observation. Some things are trial and error. Some things are by reading books. But I give thanks for knowledge that I was born with, I would say. I was born with that. And when I learned who my father, my grandfather was, they were brilliant people also, and my mother ended up as a trained teacher. So you can see how the genes come down the line, But in my family line, I did not grow up see pictures on the wall like how some people do of an ancestral line. I can identify no one in that line. I need to have picture of my great grandmother or my grandmother. I don't have any picture of my great grandfather, so I don't have nothing to identify with. See, they are the ones who are brilliant. They are the ones who were established then. Remember, in Jamaica, we are the sons of slaves, basically, a slave generations. So it's not easy for us to trace an ancestry going back. So basically, I said I shape my character on my own ways, my own lifestyle, and what I think miraculously I'm in a charge to do, because my life is not planned by myself. I find myself doing things, and I ask for inspiration and guidance. So I don't do things because somebody teach me to do it. It just comes out of myself. And basically, when it comes to teaching, what I learned in college, I applied it now in my daily life. So that is why I have to give thanks same way for friends and families around me who would guide me on a path same way. knowing that it's a global family. It is not a parental family anymore because I'm a part of the Rastafari global family, which is
Mhm.
bigger than parenting, which is bigger than any siblings around me. You know,
Mhm.
I give thanks that I have skills to connect and skills to navigate internet and skill to write and skill that people will believe in me that I'm a true person and I'm not somebody who they can't trust. I'm trustworthy. So I give thanks that people around me can see the benefits of me.
Yeah,
Give thanks.
yeah.
On this phone.
We can see you okay. We can see you good.
Yeah. Shall I get with this phone?
So,
Yeah. So
an interjection while you're doing that is that in Babylon's world, what the enslavement of people did was to create great and prolific, in psychological terms, in the book language, attachment disorders within families where there was not a connection. And when I first became aware and accepted guidance from Rastafari elders around 1981, there was a song that came out shortly after that, you know, Mama forsake you, Daddy forsake you, but Rastafari will take you, you know?
yeah.
And so this attachment, this ism schism with the attachment being broken in so many families intentionally created a type of another type, not a financial poverty, but an attachment poverty, an attachment and a connection hurt, a wound. And so you don't have the language, you don't have the connection of these ancestors. You like as you were saying, you don't see the pictures on the wall like maybe you see other people have in their households. And so it's a very usually a very highly actualized individual who can then, you know, make it's kind of a well-worn cliche, but make lemonade out of lemons. You know, you figured out ways and you still found those ancestral lines like you talked about. Mom became a teacher, and you have been in many ways a teacher through your writing,
It's
right?
true.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what would you say brought you to Rastafari? What was that first experience, or what can you share about how you came to Rastafari?
Okay. Quite interestingly, growing up with grandmother, you have a space to do. Growing up with our brothers and sisters, you have still a space, an observant space. You are not restricted. Because most time grandmother gone to work, I'm there. Because basically then Jamaica is a tenement yard situation. We're poor, so you live in a garrison or a tenement yard, many, many houses and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So my grandma was really a caregiver for someone. I'll stay there with them. And then we move into what you would call an inner city situation like a ghetto where you have zinc fences and pit toilets and one standpipe and no kitchen, no outside bathroom. So there now, and then it's a place of where Rastafari dwell also. You can see them moving around, you can see them smoking, you can see them reasoning. So basically, and it was a time of the Coral Garden atrocity,
Mm-hmm.
wherein I got more alert on what who Rastafari is. Rastafari was in my yard. I was just 9+ going into 10.
Mm-hmm.
So in that time, you see man maybe cutting the locks with bottle, broken bottle, running, hiding, hustling around, screaming. So you say, what happened to these people? Why people are so antagonistic against them? From my point of view, they were peaceful people.
Mm-hmm.
They were defiant in the God concept. They were talking about African liberation. And then I said, there must be something in it. But even when I still went to church, but when going to church, the missionaries were talking, say, what they're saying is law. If you don't believe them, you're condemned. I say, how can they have that authority
Mm-hmm.
over me as an individual saying, oh, hey, whatever, if I speak to you, don't believe it, well, you're condemned to hell. I say, no, it can't be like that. So I was trying to find alternatives, ways to survive.
Mm-hmm.
And having been going to high school after passing the community through a Rastafari camp also, So I see Rastafari there, I call it Potter's House in North Gully. So there are many Rastafari. They have to pass common front going to and fro from school. So it was a curiosity for me. It was more
Mhm.
curiosity when I see Rastafari on the road, no shirt, only what you call a crocus bag, you know, or you call a sackcloth, then in so many ways with a bash. And they were so defiant. They
Mhm.
burn. I don't see no fire burning now in Rastafari concept. If you eat it, you get fire burn. If you cream your hair, you get fire burn. If you wear lipstick, you get fire burn. Everything was fire. It was a
Right,
fire product of those ancients. They
right.
they they did not wear any shoes. They did not wear any turban, no hat, no nothing.
Yeah.
They carried a long rod and a basket with food.
Mm.
So they were self-sufficient. Some of
Mm.
them didn't cook food. And then in Jamaica, it is if you're white, you're right. If
Yes.
you're brown, stick around. If you're black, stay in the back.
Mhm.
So all those things that have effect on me. So there's a partiality in the system then. You are being discriminated against. So how could I negotiate my way out of this?
Yeah.
I've realized that the Rastafari tribe is a separation from those things now. It's a Babylon system, which gives an alternative lifestyle connecting to African liberation or your true self. Do what you want. You're not enslaved.
Mhm.
Because Jamaica is a slave outpost. So we
Mhm.
look at that too. So having learned so many things in college, I say, okay, these Rasta them right.
Mhm.
I don't want to be part of this traditional system that enslaves people. I want to be independent of them. So you're
Mhm.
looking and say, from say go to school at 11, high school, so up to about 15. The urge of Rastafari was also there, learning more, talking to more friends, you know. Well, I'm not really a big herb smoker, but I'm around a lot of man who smoke herb. But when you smoke herb, it's a communion, a
Yeah.
reasoning. The
Mhm.
reason goes up and the reason expands to different level. I'm
Mhm.
around people who cook their own food, They don't eat from patsy, they don't eat shop food. See, them not share spliff, they not share chalice.
Right.
Because those Rastafari grow me to know that it's just the same, and it's the I and I know, the God in man, not the God outside.
Mhm.
And it is heaven on earth, not heaven in the sky.
Mhm.
So you see, there's a lot of learning, even without I saying any words to them. I observe and I learn a lot. Because at that age, I could not go into any conversation. I'm a
Right.
youth. So I
Right.
could just, they tolerate me there.
Right.
I learn from them.
Right.
So it's a beauty of growing up within a ghetto or inner city community,
Mhm.
observing how people behave, especially people who I admire.
Mhm.
Because the church people are talking and Jesus come and Jesus will come and fire burn and hell. So it turns you off. It's like it's a
Yeah.
God of heaven and hell. It's a separation. So
Right.
you're looking to say, the God is partial then.
Right.
He's separating people. He don't love people. You get me? So
Yeah.
being
Realistic.
Rastafari will show more love
Mhm.
to everyone. Just to say, yeah, it's
Yeah.
better I lean into that direction than go the other side.
And then as a youth, we're reminded of this as elders today, is that the youth sometimes want to, kind of take over the reins, but they're not really ready yet. They're not stable yet. They don't have the knowledge converted into wisdom yet. And you've had all these experiences to be able to observe and learn and listen and read and reason. For people that don't know, reasoning means to communicate together. It means to have a conversation that, it moves between both sides, both parties or both individuals are reasoning and having, instead of we say, I want to talk to you. In Rastafari word sound power, we would say we're reasoning, because there's respect on both sides, whether you're a youth or not, there's still respect. Mm.
Yes, because the reasoning is not a competition.
Mm.
You listen and you learn. So the one who is more fluent in speaking will speak. The others
Mm.
just listen. and it's not a conflict with both. So it's fine that. And then is the reasoning around the smoking of the chalice, is the reasoning when you're cooking a yacht. Some cooking, some reasoning, some smoking, some listening, some reasoning same way. So it's an ongoing reasoning, and within the reasoning, you see one just coming in.
Right.
There's no exclusion. And when one come, a spliff is handed, or a chalice is passed, or some food is being shared. So it's like a family gathering where everyone is included. And it is not matter of how you look, or how you dress, or how you appear. So there's no discrimination of who's wearing the silk and who's wearing the three-piece, and so to speak. You just try that. So the reason situation is up full, unlike now, it is a matter of who's scoring points. Who can speak the most, who is more fluent, who is more eloquent, who can repeat Bible verses or historical documents. Because at that time, early days, not many Rastafari could read and write. They were so hostility, which is the time of the black art man. You couldn't go to school. You couldn't take a transport. You have to live in the hills. So when you come from the hills, you're full of knowledge. And those who are book learned share that knowledge also, so both the knowledge just match.
Right.
The man who is knowledgeable in the book and the man who is knowledgeable in the hills. So it's a shared knowledge and a shared space. Because sometimes a man will just come with his hammock, he have nowhere to rest. I say, brother, you can't just rest now. Or you share a bed, or you just sleep on the floor. If there is, or you just sleep outside, because in those days, nature is the protector. You don't have to worry about a bed or nothing. You just rest.
Yeah.
So now man will say, boy, because my gates and my vehicles and so on and so on. So it was a more loving situation. And I grew up in that. Elders who loving and caring and respectful.
And genuinely care about you.
Of course.
Yeah. I haven't had a bed for decades. I sleep on the floor. I sleep on a simple mat. And it's very difficult for a lot of people to wrap their minds when they have fancy toilets and fancy beds, and there's thrones in the house, fancy car and fancy clothes and eyelashes and all these things, right? And these are distractions. They're taking you away, because you have to manage all these things, from really tending to yourself and to your community, don't you think?
Yes. Okay, because even an adult going some places, and it's like the rest of a silk garment, and he can drive, and he can drink the wines and high grade, smoke the high grade. He saw himself as an elevated Rastafari financially and economically, and he might look down on the other Ras who is of a lesser standard in his idea.
Right.
But it's the same standard. We are all Rastafari.
Yeah.
But he draw the line. But there should be no line. So there is a disparity of rich and poor, of middle class and upper class. In my time, there was nothing like that. Because why? Because all Rastafari are hunted by police. All Rastafari could not smoke a spliff. They could not take a taxi because it's dirty head Rasta, come out. You need to go, you are not properly dressed. So now you have the elite of Rastafari can get jobs, they can go about, they can drive big cars, and you still have the poor Rastafari walking in their eyes. But it's not a rich and poor thing, we are all Rastafari. But we all stand as majesty, and there's no discrimination about your status. And that one have to realize we are one and the same, whichever category we find ourselves in.
What do you see happening in Rastafari today? I mean, you're living in Jamaica. You have moved with many of the different houses of Rastafari. You know a lot of people. You have these experiences that seeing what you cited up as a youth, amongst the elders for you at that time. What's different And what's a different manifestation about Rastafari today?
Give thanks. For many, and for those who are more observant, Rastafari have broken many barriers. Many barriers.
Mm.
But how we make use of it is another problem.
Mm-hmm.
We are not the black heart man. We are not the dirty Rasta. We are not the uneducated. See me?
Mm-hmm.
They are lifting the discrimination of ganja, but they are classifying it as medical marijuana. For us, it's ganja.
Mm-hmm.
That's an economic package they are doing.
Sure.
We were growing up and we were drinking spring water. They said, no, you can't drink water from the spring. It's not chlorinated, it's not treated. You're going to get sick and damaged. No, it is commercialized.
Oh boy.
Spring water.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is monetized. We were the Italians. Now it's vegan and vegetarian. You see
Mm-hmm.
all those things? Rasta is the Ital man, the raw food man, the nature man.
Mm-hmm.
No, that is Rastafari is a man that about healthy living. You know, salt. You know all these foods that make you see no chemical food, nor fertilized food. That's the liberty. That's the nature liberty. You live with the elements. You live among the elements. So we have seen our word sound take unto itself life, which is being commercialized
Mm-hmm.
subtly and thrown back to us now to say, okay, we take it from you. You said it, but we are applying it.
Mm-hmm.
So it is left for Rastafari who have grown intellectually,
Yeah.
who can negotiate those lines now and stand up. But what we notice, some intellectual Rastafari are working for the system.
Mm-hmm.
How they get a status now, you know? They are brilliant. They are professors. They are lawyers.
Mm-hmm.
They are major in economics. We don't see them sitting with I and I
Mm-mm.
from the foundation to give guidance, to help structure the framework of Rastafari. So what
Mm-hmm.
we learn is that today most of the barriers are not there anymore. They're gone.
Mm-hmm.
But it's for us to make use of that instead of going back into the semantics.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Christian is saying, Jesus Christ gone in the sky. Oh, we know he's a man. So he must send. How he must send? He didn't take a rocket or something. He must send in flesh, you know. He must take a rocket and go up there. Yeah, we know. So
Mm-hmm.
them say, oh, I Selassie I dead. So we say, no, I Selassie I live in the hearts of all flesh.
Yeah.
Just like you say Christ live in the heart of your flesh, I Selassie is the same. So
Right.
you can't tell us nothing. You have to stop talking. Get me? So we realize that all these doctrine and things we can say, okay, this is our position. Because every man have a right to create his own deity. Every man have that right. Because that is his belief system, that is his concept. So when we look and say then, Rastafari is an anti-colonial struggle
Yes.
of oppression and discrimination and rejection. And they presented this white God. And we said, no, we don't want that anymore. From then on, how will time come right down? We rejected that. And we said, I Selassie is divine, leave us alone.
Mm-hmm.
But some of these people now have benefited from that generation of defiant Rastafari, and they have a status now of working and wealth and accumulation, and they have not find the time to sit and say, yes, the foundation still needs strengthening. Why? Because most of the ancients are now ancestors,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a complete different generation of Rastafari.
Completely.
Yes, who are enjoying the privilege of society.
Mm-hmm.
But they can smoke herb, they can go to school, they can live in Greek houses, and they can move up. They say, oh, the victory is won. The
Yeah.
victory is not won.
No.
And they have the concept. Hey, we okay. You can walk, you can have a split, you can. you can do stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So you find that what we have to realize is that, like Obongo Kochi would have said, now is the red carpet time. It is
Mm-hmm.
not the rocky roads of thorn and thistles. Now is the academia time of Rastafari. Those who can write projects, those who can write proposals, those who can lobby, those who can speak at any intellectual languages at any forum.
Mm-hmm.
This is not the fireborn time, you know. The fire have paved the way for this time.
Right.
The fire cleanse everything. Now is an intellectual time. Yeah, you
Yes.
can burn the fire, yeah, but it's
Right.
not a fire order anymore.
Yes.
It's an intellectual order to claim your own space.
Mm-hmm.
But what we learned, we lost Scotch Pass because of internal bad administration.
Mm-hmm.
Because we normally use Scotch Pass at the Nibingi Center, but some bad blood came out and we lost that. So we are losing ground.
Mm-hmm.
See, we are losing ground. And that is a bad thing. The Bongo Water, Asian Bongo Water, he had a different outlook. Remember, say it's African retentions coming back into Jamaica. The Africans brought the drums or brought the concept of the drums.
Mm-hmm.
They made their own drums in Jamaica and then played the African beat that we modified into a Naya Bingi beat.
Mm-hmm.
The same Kuman and the same Maya, the same Pocomania, we modified that into the Naya Bingi beat, the Naya Bingi order. We dismantled the Kangle and all those rituals. We say Haile Selassie is the only candlestick, the center of the altar. We said that. We still modify it with our tabernacles. Because tabernacles is Jewish.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Rastafari.
Right.
The fire key is Jewish. The altar is Jewish. The altar is not Rastafari neither. So we modify all those things. Because we come out of a groundation, which was attached. We burn it down after the bingi and we're gone. So we reach into a tabernacle. But what it does, it moves us into a different space that we don't overstand. We don't overstand that space.
Mm-hmm.
And we take on titles as priests and high priests, and we have not mastered it.
Mm-hmm.
So Bongo Watto had created he took a page from the revival book and create what you call a table man and a secretary. That was it. We modified the thing into an administrative council of 7 priests, including a high priest and administrators.
Mm-hmm.
They are not properly defined. Remember, the intellectual base of Rastafari is still outside, you know. So those who want to go intellectually don't have the capacity to move the movement in that way. Mm-hmm. So you have a problem now with the structuring of the Nayabing, the guideline structuring, the responsibility structuring. You have a priest who is not trained. He can't sign a rite of passage document because you have no authorization from that. He cannot do a sanctification. He has no authorization from that. And most rest of them born dead and then born funeral. So you have a conflict again.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to look on the original status of Rastafari as a groundation.
Mm-hmm.
Wherein it's a cleansing then with the outside fire key. And you chant for specific reasons and forget about this administration that many Rastafari are not competent to manage. Mm-hmm. Like doing minutes, like treasury, like accountability. They're not trained to manage money.
No.
We have reached a stage that we made the error to blend back in society, you know, that we rejected and to apply society norms that we rejected. When I came in the movement, I said, Flako, you're coming with your tail education. You're coming from school, all this. They call it, is that education, you know? It's a tail education. So you're coming with all that. What are you going to do with it? So they did not like people who are educated in the first place. So how do you set the template for people who have education? And you don't have the people to manage it. But when we look globally, Rastafari have developed, because we can see World Sound Power Collective, which is multi-ethnic group who fulfill the Rastafari creed, yes. We can see like Idor Universal Development of Rastafari, which is very good. Rastafari, fully the creed, same way. We can see there was a even with Rough Toto, we taking Rastafari to the front. Those are political Rastafari organizations. We can see IDOR, Universal Development of Rastafari, yes. We can see many different structures of Rastafari. We can see Run, Ras Elijah, Reform the United Nations now. So what I'm looking at is the intellectual side of Rastafari, who is making great advancement in society, who have the capacity to compete at any intellectual levels. And that is where we want to go. Rastafari says there are a government within a government. How can we establish a government without portfolios and positions? A government have a high responsibility, you know. So when we say we're a government within a government, it's not to chant a bindi. That's it. Because we say the theocracy reign out of the Naya Bingi, which is God government on earth. How are we going to apply it? Is chanting a Bingi application of the theocracy government of the Rastafari? No. We have to have an administration to fulfill the creed. Seek, nourish, ancient clothes, elders taken care of. That is seen. We have to have the creed to fulfill.
Right.
Yeah, see, ancient nourish. So how are you going to do that without an administration that have a financial budget?
Otherwise, it seems like you get enveloped in the whole Babylon system. You get enveloped in the whole westernization. You're right back into colonialism again, even though it looks different. So it looks, they can go get their dreadlocks manicured and they can smoke spliff and they can, they can do the things that they want to do and they feel they have freedom to wear dreadlocks, but they don't understand what the ancestors paid for that and why you have this push towards a more inclusive, sovereign, indigenous type government and entity of its own. Is that correct? Or
it is correct, because there was one time the professor of the University of West Indies says that, why worry about Africa? Why were we going to go there? It is like, let's rehabilitate Rastafari. Give them what they need and let them stay in Jamaica, and don't talk about repatriation and reparations. And they are so correct, because I have not heard artists singing about repatriation or reparation for the longest while.
No, neither me.
No. So you see, sir, they see the weakness in the movement where they can capitalize on, and we fall traps of that so-called Rastafari. I went to a conference in Rotterdam, and the professor says that Rastafari today are passive. They are not on the front line. That is from a university professor voice, his status. They are not active anymore. We are not protesting. We are not demanding.
Sit down. Yeah. And a lot of people take that assumption too, that, oh, I'm a Rastafari, I'm a pacifist. I said, I'm not a pacifist. Okay. That's not me. I'm peaceful, but I'm not a pacifist. In other words, if there's something that's wrong, I stand up to it, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to be pacifist and just let everything roll over, because that's not what the ancestors did in Rastafari.
No. When His Majesty came, the Rastafari is a wonderful people. Wonderful people. And we know that Rastafari is a conscience of the people. So we can't stay back and let the people suffer. We must speak. We must agitate. Because Rastafari is truth and rights. So how many Rastafari speaking in that direction of truths and rights? Of equal rights and justice? That's what we are all about.
Right.
So if you don't have, say, the categories of Rastafari, some might not be able to speak fluently about that. But some are academically trained in the language of politics to stand up.
And knowledge of human rights, the Bill of Human Rights, to be advocated. The Bill of
Yes,
Human Rights, especially for children. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
So I think that what I see, what is on the template, most of it is shifted to just an easy living. Yeah, Rasta,
yeah.
you can burn a spliff, and fly an emblem and smoke and eat some ital and wear some badges. No, that make
Something,
you Rasta.
yeah.
That don't make you Rasta.
No, nor does just listening to reggae music.
All right. That don't make you Rasta.
No,
Because if that was the making of Rastafari, we wouldn't have these changes around here. You wouldn't have these reform ganja laws, and you wouldn't have in this release of depression Rastafari.
mm-hmm.
You wouldn't have this acceptance because when Prince Hermas came to Jamaica recently, his Haile Selassie grandson, and he says Rastafari is a religion. It's a
Mm-hmm.
peaceful religion who recognize the Solomon dynasty and many things that he can credit Rastafari for. We were flying the ice gold and green flag. We say about His Majesty non-stop. And if we were not doing that, the world wouldn't know us.
Right.
And that's a defiance against the system. We said, no, His Majesty is God. To hell with your white God, whether you like it or not. You stand your ground. So there's a different levels of thinking. So since we achieve that acknowledgement now, in some section that we are a religious people, where in some people say them born religion and then born Bible and then born everything. But it's not that is not the majority viewpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not an intellectual concept of who religious people are and who peaceful people are. Because within the Rastafari movement, we don't take up guns, we don't take up knives, we don't fling no bomb.
Mm-hmm.
We more if you smoke a chalice and eat some food if you come down to that. You get
Mm-hmm.
me? So
Yes.
let us yeah, we have achieved a lot as a people and so young within this creation of a group of people. Remember, Rastafari is multi-ethnic and Rastafari is global.
Excuse me.
So all those who have a racist inclination, Rastafari is not that. We've gone through that stage like many years ago. And that platform is an accepted platform.
Mm-hmm.
It is not tolerated. Because Majesty did not tolerate it. So
Right.
why should we promote that? See?
I wanted to also ask about these are really good points. I think that they're important for people to hear, and I think it's great that we're memorializing them here in a video so that people can watch them even at another time, because it's not often heard, and it's not often they're not able to access what you have to share. I'd like to ask you a little bit. It's a little bit shifting gears, but a little bit about Nana, what people think of as Nanny of the Maroons, and
Oh,
what she did for Jamaica. And you have told me many years ago the true name of the Maroon people. So maybe a little bit about that, if you would.
yeah. Okay. The transatlantic slavery is unspeakable. And historically, it has shaped many ones around the world, not in Jamaica, America, all over. That shipment of people to fulfill the coffers of Europe and England and Britain and France and all those kind of people. So we find that many ones, because who are offsprings of slaves, are here.
Mm-hmm.
For Nanny, we are not sure. It is many things are said about her. Say that she was not a slave. Say she was a servant on a slave ship. Say she came from royal blood. We are not sure. But the Maroons is a category gift to runaway people. And Nanny is from the Akan group of Ghana. But what we learn historically, they were rebellious people and they were captured as prisoners of war. So when the British came, they were shipped out anywhere. So the English did not know that you can't tame them, you
Mm-hmm.
can't control them. They are soldiers, they are military people, and they do not like slavery.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cross the board, you know. No human being like captivity. None. They don't
especially
like to be in
intelligent, especially
Yes,
not the most intelligent. So another word for rebellious would also be highly, highly intelligent. Mhm.
exactly. Exactly. So what we learn, we did not in Jamaica, we do not know because what we are saying eventually, Jamaica is house slave and free slaves and rebellious slaves. We are not of the clan of the Maroons or the runaway what signed that peace treaty. So we're not privileged to know more about Queen Nanny, the guerrilla fighter, the revolutionary fighter, the ones who make snares and traps and who can catch bullets. She make booby traps to catch bullets. She can redirect bullets to those who fire at her. She's a mystic. She's a science
Mhm.
person that is
Right.
seen. So we know that that's an African retention.
Mhm.
And she was not alone because she did not sign that peace treaty. She said, no, we know in Maroon, we don't sign that. We are not in agreement with, we are there for war. We're not gonna sign no blood X
Right.
and all of that. So she was even so rebellious against her own people to sign the peace treaty. So you can see the defiance as a woman, Remember, she's not a man. And she led the warriors into war and
Mhm.
she sacrificed her own self. So look on the broader picture of Nani as a guerrilla revolutionary fighter, an intelligent person, as a war strategic who
Mhm.
master warfare, and you give her the title of a national hero. How many
Right.
people in Jamaica emulating Nani? The spiritual side of Nani, the fine side of Nani. So to say, oh, Nani is a hero is a special name, is a liberator. So you can't just say, oh, give her the title to appease her people, to quiet the maroon. Okay, I give you Nani, your people, who came from your people as a national hero, so you can quiet yourself now. We accept that. It is not so. Because the Maroons today are defiant about their land that the
Mhm.
government want to take away. So we can see, say, the bloodline of Mama Nani, Queen Nani, the warrior queen, is still deep in the Maroon communities.
Yes.
Unlike the broader Jamaican communities who might just read about her in a book. Because honestly, we don't have a true picture of Nani.
No, I don't think so.
Right. And
Yeah.
and there are many, many stories that just stories we can verify because we have not seen the ship log of her coming on a ship. Because normally you could go through ship logs and find those who come to Jamaica and know where they go and which plantation they went. Maybe
Right.
nobody have not researched that. How are we sure that her name is Nani in the ship logs?
Mm.
Or was her name just given to her?
Mhm.
To us, Nani is a grandmother.
Right.
A caregiver is a nanny.
Mhm.
Look after children. So the name, as we interpret it, she's not like that. She's a warrior. So it must have a different meaning.
The stories have so often been changed, the names have been changed. If you look at these extremely powerful, highly intelligent, high bloodline content Black women from Africa, now in America, in the UK, like Sister Jala here, bless up Jala, like many, many women, these are the women that, in this case, singularly held back the British. And
Yes.
yet it wasn't really adequately and accurately reported on ever. So to destroy a person's name, much like even with Native Americans, and to take them from their family and separate them, has created a division. It's created a need to try to recoup, whereas we could have been in a different place right now as people. We could have been much more connected and much more community geared. And that was something I wanted to bring up because I watched a video many years ago on the Haitian Revolution and how westernized, colonialized reporting usually will say, oh, yeah, we won all these, and there weren't many, quote, slave rebellions that were won. But there were, and they just were hidden and suppressed and taken away. So people would always think, oh, they were never very successful, right? So,
Of
have
course.
you heard about that with the Haitian Revolution? That they were very successful.
course,
against British.
because we were thankful of Bookman Dutty, or Dutty Bookman, or Bookman Duty,
Mm-hmm.
who came to Jamaica. He came from Africa as a slave, same way, and he was given his name, the name of his master, Duty. So in Asian thing is Bookman Duty. Bookman is the man of the book. He was fluent in the Quran. You know it. And then he mastered guerrilla war also. So he sailed his boat from Jamaica, go to Haiti, and start a revolution. So what he did was to keep what you call a obia ritual of a black pig. And they jump around and dance and do the sacrifice, and they drink the pig blood and mark the pig, smear themselves with the blood of the pig. And they use the Bible too. They say God is not partial. If God can be partial for the white people and leave the black people out, it must be a one God. So he was thinking in Rastafari line same way. Any God who is partial is not a good God. We can't work with him. Period. Full stop. We don't want him around here. Them can separate some people and accept some and reject some. You must accept all. So Bookman was time like that. So Bookman was before Tucson. And Bookman mobilized Tucson overture. But we don't have a picture of Bookman neither. Only say mysteries and like a document that he did. But what we know, he was a master guerrilla. And he mobilized people with the ritual sacrifice that people feel say is obia, is a science, is a kind of mystic thing, which is an African retention also. In the real sense, when you know obia, it is not bad. But some people can use it for bad too. You can practice it and cause omen and do a bunch of stuff, or you can use for healing. Because it's part of the obia, is African religion same way. Like Shango and all those things same. So we know. So Bookman is a Jamaican who started the Asian Revolution by sailing boats, go over there, eventually they capture him and cut off his head. Just like Nani, who did not think for herself. Because she could just comply. I said, no, we're not complying. Just like Sam Sharp, who said, I rather die on yonder gallows than being a slave. He's a national hero too. So within Jamaica, the dynamics of Jamaica, is revolutionary. You don't know which bloodline you have and what time that you go rise up to a different level. But Jamaicans are different people. Because we can't trace our ancestry but so far. So deep down in our DNA, we might come from a different a space or lineage of people who are revolutionary. So Jamaica is full of uprising. People rising up, people quarreling, people fussing, people being suppressed. So you see, the Nanny story is good for us to learn more of her. I went to Nanny Town. I see her statue. I see our grave scene where they show her mound and people are there, but they don't speak much of her.
Right.
Maybe because I'm not really a Maroon to go in the Maroon community, but the Maroon community is kind of divided, in the sense of if you don't go there, you don't learn enough about them. And it's not say they write books and go out. Or when you look at a Maroon, a person in Maroon town, you don't know him because there's no difference. You look alike. You don't know, there's no tribal marks on him, there's no nothing abnormal on him. So you don't know. But they have their own community. But you see, Jamaica is so divided, and that land is their land, and those people are their people. And it is good for us as Rastafari to go closer to them, because there's a red line against Maroon with Rasta. So Maroon, they recruit, capture the slaves and give them back to the British. So people don't really like them. But the British give them one guinea and then come with an ear, where them cut off and say, yo, see the ear, see the man ears there, so give her a guinea now, the man dead. So it's like, say, they fight against their own,
Yeah.
They're not a peaceful people. So when the British brought them here, they did not know who they really are, who they were, or their capabilities.
Mm-hmm.
So there are many people in Jamaica just like them who come from Africa, who have tribal nature, and we don't know. Maybe we might see them, so we don't know how deep they are, their roots are. Because Jamaica is not a space for that. Jamaica is a poverty place. Everybody trying to hustle. We're trying to get a bread. You know, have no time to study and research about these things. You know, so these heroes at Nani is very good, very powerful, and it shows that people should not be enslaved.
Mm-hmm.
And what is really that is really the nitty gritty of it. You know, if you enslave people, one will rise up to sacrifice their lives to free the rest. And I think it goes through every nation of people too.
May I ask you, do you think that Obia
Hmm.
was made out to be negative and evil and chastised, and maybe even some negative characters were placed into Obia to create an aversion to Obia so that people would stop using something that was very powerful?
There were other laws in Jamaica, but the British didn't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
You can be locked up, you can go to prison, you can be charged if you're doing any ritual things like that. It's a fear of
Mm-hmm.
them.
Mm-hmm.
So anything you are afraid of, you try to suppress it.
Mm-hmm.
So you could find there are many ones you could read,
Mm-hmm.
read auras, give treatment, no herbs in particular, make tinctures and medicines who
Mm-hmm.
can see things that you can't see. They might have a third eye.
Mm-hmm.
So the nature of Obia, it is not bad in itself.
Mm-hmm.
It is how people get assistance,
Mm-hmm.
how people interpret things with the help of others.
Mm-hmm.
You see? So it's like it is a challenge to Christianity,
Mm-hmm.
the mysticism that they don't know. But still, you have Moses throwing down his rod and it turned a snake.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know
Right.
the story.
Yes. 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 Mm-hmm.
You see? So in Christianity, you have a lot of things there too, mystics and things happening. You know, herbs is for the healing of the nation. So you say, okay, let's go to the man who maybe is an older man and can give me a medicine, and he make it for you.
Mm-hmm.
What is a medicine man, you know?
Mm-hmm.
If you're sick, if somebody's molesting in your house, you can say, okay, move that, turn that, change your bed, spin around a couple of things, drink that, take a bath.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more like a healing thing. But you'll have some of them who can chance hero spells on you too.
Mm-hmm.
Can go deeper in the thing.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is just like the what they said about the Nayabingi
Mm-hmm.
with Philos from Italy, Fernando Philos, who says that in time of the Nayabingi you could make an image. His mother to make an image and break the hand and break the neck, and the
Yeah.
person die.
Yeah.
So you make an effigy and you do a bunch of stuff, and it happens. People say it works. We don't know. We don't try those things. We don't have nothing to do with it. But there are many, many things that people do. We don't know.
Right. Oh,
It is
what
not our
we
experience.
right. So what we've heard is that we take away the name, we take away your right to have your hair the way you want to
Yes.
have your hair natural. We take away your connection with your ancestors, your connection with your
Mhm.
mother, your connection with your father, because we create a poverty-driven financial system, a money-based system, right? We
Mhm.
change your food, and now what you've also heard Ras Flako Tafari talk about is drinking the spring water, and now no, 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 you got to drink the chlorinated water, right? Which is full of halogens. I've published my second book on your thyroid, and we have an epidemic in the world which has caused a multitude. It's the top two medications that people are taking, which is garbage, which is synthetic thyroid hormone. And now we've given you our packaged religion, but don't you go use Obia, which, by the way, I was raised very similar. It wasn't called Obia because obviously I'm white. I grew up in America. But I grew up with hearing, she said, you will hear the ancestors. My grandmother did all these things you're talking about. And so it was very natural that I don't need problem with that. But because there's a lot of operant conditioning, for those of you who know anything about psychology, the good dog, okay, you're going to church on Sunday, that's great, and you look good with your fancy hat and your fancy clothing and everything. Well, the energy you put into that is energy that could have been putting into soil, water, conservation, nature, taking good care of yourself, right? So now you have to run to the doctor. So all of these things that Rastafari knew about, that they adapted as a means of harsh, heinous, criminal infliction upon them, was an adaptation and a way to make a movement to say, well, we can still be family, we can still be connected, we can still find the truth, we can still find a place to live up here in the hills, right? And now we have a very different manifestation. We have a fear of obia, we have manicured dreadlocks, we have synthetic food drugs called ultra processed foods under the NOVA classification. We have people that have book learning. If you have a college degree, it doesn't mean anything to me other than, okay, you took a little, you went a little extra mile, that's wonderful. But you can't consider other people ignorant who have a vast amount of life experience and knowledge, and that's compared to someone who's got a degree or book knowledge. So I think that one of the ways that I learned was always to sit at the feet of the elders. Now I'm an elder myself, but to sit at the feet of elders and listen, which is why I wanted to do this interview, is because I know, I believe, and I've moved with Ras Flako Tafari for well over a decade, and I believe that he has some very valuable, as you can hear and see, some extremely valuable insights. So he's put them into books with Wise Mind Publications, including about the Coral Gardens. If you don't know anything about Coral Gardens, it's a really pivotal moment in Rastafarian history. So it's very important. I know that I also wanted to ask about what you'd like to see. Like if someone came to you and said, I'm a little curious about Rastafari, but I really don't know anything about it. How would I get started? What would you share with them?
I give thanks because it's just like, okay, there are different houses and mansions that you could go to.
Mm-hmm.
Or people can say, okay, you can be Nabingi is the first house and mansion, you can be Nabingi. Nabingi have their guidelines, their rules and regulations. You could learn from it. You could also be a Baba Shanti. Another house and mansion, they have their rules and regulations same way. You can go to 12 tribes. They have their rules and regulations. But if you say, I don't like organizations, I don't want to join any of those, I want to be Rastafari
Mm-hmm.
on my own, because I and organizations don't agree, although they're regulations, fine. So we can say, read His Majesty's speeches, first thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because His Majesty is a template of Rastafari. Then you look into yourself and see how you can apply those. You can also read the Bible, because His Majesty said, my part I glory in the Bible. You read it to find the truth
Mm-hmm.
in yourself. If you don't find it, we have no quarrel with you. You can just leave it.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to smoke, fine. If you can take ganja, if you can take chalice, you can smoke, fine. If you don't like it, that doesn't stop you from being Rastafari.
Mm-hmm.
We can say healthy living is Rastafari. Environmental protection is Rastafari.
Mm-hmm.
Honesty and integrity and wise mind is Rastafari. No discrimination is Rastafari. And to know that God is not outside of you, it's inside of you.
Mm-hmm.
Every man can give his God concept. So what is your own? You have to listen to him or her. Want to preach down to you who God is.
Mm-hmm.
But they're trying to dictate to you who God is.
Mm-hmm.
You find within yourself, God dwells within. So if you can't find him within, you have a problem. You need to keep searching. Maybe you'll get some guidance along the way, fine. Well, Rastafari in itself, is how you deal with matters concerning life, sustainability, caring, without partiality, no discrimination. Rastafari is an alternative path to trod, basically. Because Rastafari said, born Babylon, leave Babylon teaching, leave them food, leave them culture, leave them economics, leave them poison pills. So you have an alternative path, which is totally different. Or you're going to trod on it is up to you. Because some people get frustrated and turn back, and they can't go the full 100. But if you're being inspired within yourself to be Rastafari, you will always stay. If somebody is not guiding you, and like someone will say, oh, okay, I'm my daughter, I know, so I have to dread her, because I lax, so she must lax. She must lax. But she's still Rasta. You don't have to lax all your children neither. They will still Rasta.
Right.
If you go hard and fast, they're going to separate themselves too. Because my figure say lax the bird, they can't carry it no more. My figure say the ital food, they can't eat it no more, kind of taste good. According to them, when they go to eat other foods, they have to be committed to the journey of Rastafari. Knowing that it is a service to people. For Rastafari is servants of the world collectively. So we are not a selfish nation. We are not a warmongering nation. We are more environmentally driven. So we tell the same, don't kill a fly, him don't kill a ant, him don't kill a mosquito. And when the rain fall, him say lightning, and him say thunder, and him glad and him chant more because him see elements of flash. So they know that he's connected. So if you're going to be a Rastafari and a lightning clap, you're going to run and hide. What kind of Rastafari is? When you see the thunder roll up and quarrel, say, yo, canonize that. Because you're governed by nature. You're governed by elements. So it's a journey within yourself. But then you have to choose what part of Rastafari you want to take on now. You can be a ganja smoker, you can be an italist, you can be a musician, you can stop there. But that is not all. Right. If when you go that route, what contribution are you making back now to the collective now, Because that might make you have money and status. But you need to give something back. So if you're a Rastafari and you're not making any contribution to the collectiveness of Rastafari, you have more to go.
Right.
You have more sacrifice to make. You guys see? So Rastafari is a community within itself that takes care of themselves. What we happen today, Rastafari depend on Babylon to take care of them. It is wrong. We never want Babylon, we never like them, So how are we so dependent on Babylon? Their food, their clothes, their gas, the computers. Why we don't sit down and create things for our own benefit now?
Right. Outside of taxation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you see, it is challenging to go the full 100 of Rastafari. Coming have stopped along the way. That's it. But it's a shared journey. Because I love to write, I love to read, I love to create books. I have my publication. That's my side of the story. But within Wise Mind Publication is a shared work. I have editors, I have proofreaders, I have graphics people. It is not my own.
Right.
Wise Mind Publication is a global publication that involves every Rasta who is willing to work. So Wise Mind Publication is owned by Rastafari Collective, not me. It's my brain power, but I share the duty to make it powerful. The same way other people are intellectually driven, can create something and share it. Because there's no payday for me, in what I do. There's no money, but the payday is a joy to see that this is happening. The joy to see I can do something out of myself, which nobody told me to do. It's my own creation. And many Rastafari are born with talents that they can also create. But when you create that, you share it in the family. You don't give back your service to Babylon, who never did like you.
This is a really, really crucial point. I want to pause for just a second, if I may, please. A very, very crucial point that Ras Flako is making right now is that he took the Wise Mind publication, which I began in the very beginning with him as working as an editor. We were volunteering. He was volunteering, putting his knowledge down on paper in historical events. And then he turned this into such a much bigger thing that it would have been if he would have just done it by himself, right? Now it's reached out to Spain, and it's the books have gone all over because many hands, make a better soup, right? So it's it's that contributing collective, this bringing about this conduction in Rastafari, this conducting ability to get yourself at a higher vibrational level so that you can bring something more to the collective. Is it what you're saying?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the importance of every Rastafari is to look on Rastafari in totality. Look within themselves and see what I can contribute to the Rastafari global movement. Instead of saying, okay, I have my talents. Yes, I'm Rastafari, but my talents is for me alone because that's my ability. The ancients did not think like that. They have a big yard. They have herb. They have hammock. You are welcome. You stay as long as you want. That's it. There's no red tape. There's no color prejudice. There's nothing. And out of that, we have inherited that legacy. So now that we reach a different stage in life or a different generation, why are we hugging up Babylon?
Right.
Who is just tolerating us?
Right.
And they love us.
Farming us.
Yes.
Now you have an apartment, which is where I'm at right now, having lost my son and my business and with all these little shenanigans going on with Babylon, right? They like to change things, and so they need an operation to do it. So now you're in an apartment, and instead of having people stay with you, oh no, you're not allowed to have anyone, right? Oh no, did you get this? Did you get these medical procedures? Did you, So it's a pushing and a pushing people through a herd mentality. This is what you will do. This is what you will do. And this is what really appealed to me back in 1981 was Rastafari said, no, we're not your slaves. We're not going to conform. We're not going to, shave off all of our hair. We're not going to drink the chlorinated water. We're not going to eat this kind of foods that you think are just, delicious and wonderful. We're going to stick to and stay with high conducting lifestyle, which is, one of the first things I learned in 84 was they said, you must get rid of your tele-lie, right? In 1981. By 1984, I got rid of the TV, and this is way before the internet. So people thought, you don't have a TV? How are you going to get the news? And they told me, you don't watch the news, I got rid of it, right? I never had a microwave. So there's different levels that you can keep taking, don't you think? I mean, yeah.
Of course, because for those who listen to Bob Marley says, we want to be what we want to be.
Right.
The Babylon system is a vampire.
Yes.
So Bob knew. Bob knew. So when they want to tailor fit you into what they want you to be, it's a problem because that is not you. It is not you because the divine power in you from day one said that this is your path. And you go through trial and error until you get it good. Because look, if you are not Rastafari, or if you turn back, or call it in the Christian thing, backslide, you're going to go back to where you was before, And it was not better because you was there before. You come to Rastafari and you're going back there. So what kind of to and fro you're doing? So if you cannot be sure, if you want to be Rastafari, don't try it.
You're right.
It is not advisable for you to try it. It's a challenge because you're going to have problem with yourself now. Oh, my locks is too big. My beard is growing too long. And I can't eat foods.
I don't have fingernails done. I don't have enough makeup. I don't have hair dye. I don't have all the perfect earrings. I don't have all the closets full of clothes, You're going to become counterculture. And becoming counterculture tends to cost you in terms of family and friends who say, but I need my cognitive dissonance. I need you to be the same as me. I need you to do what I do. And I don't feel comfortable that you're not doing what I do, right? So you don't eat like me, and you don't think like me, and you don't want to go shopping all the time, and you don't, it's just it's difficult.
Of
And
course, of
yeah,
course.
imperialism.
Because yes, okay. Sometimes you might. There was a reason originally why Rastafari ancients did not have a relationship. The journey was too rough.
Mm-hmm.
I learned of Asians for 10 years. They don't have a woman. For 10 years, they sleep into a hammock, rain or shine,
Mm-hmm.
because the trad was too rough for a daughter to live in.
Mm-hmm.
A sister have different
Mm-hmm.
things to do with ourselves and need more comfort and so on, so on. So you're not going to trad with a king man who don't have a house or something,
Mm-hmm.
something, something. See me?
Yeah.
So ones were saying that Rastafari ancients didn't have any woman. Wait. Some of them eventually didn't have any children because they didn't have a relationship all along until their senior years. So we look at the sacrifice that they had gone through. Your mother and your father forsake you. They choose
Mm-hmm.
Haile Selassie. Then you have some sisters who say, boy, your locks don't look good enough, and you know, your lifestyle is not good and I can't eat those kind of food. So you say, Chuck, you go on your ways, I'm gonna try that. You come when you're ready. Yeah, see? So that sacrifice that the ancients gone through within themselves to separate themselves from Babylon and from society. Not
Mm-hmm.
many ones could do that. So
No.
I get to learn more from them because I see the sacrifice that they've gone through, and I see as my responsibility to carry on their duty at a different level. Because they were not able to articulate things, they were not able to go certain places. Them born airplane and can't fly from plane, they don't take get no, they have no birth certificates and all those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
Many things they say is Babylon system. Them born school, so they don't go to school because it's false education them getting.
Yeah.
So they were defiant with society. But that defiance over many years have waned into more acceptance now. So you can go to school, you can sit
Mm-hmm.
on the same bed, you can travel in the same car, you can own a car, you can own a house. It's a privilege for some, but it's a stage of conquering. Look at it that way. You have conquered the system, so the system you can move through much easier.
Mm-hmm.
But the system doesn't accept you, you are still Rasta. You says that God is man. So that's a blow too with Christianity. God is a living man, and the man said, no, not so. It's God in the sky, and it's Jesus, what we can't see.
Yeah.
So when it comes to theology and the differences, they say, no, you're still out there, but due to the pressures that you have applied on us, we have to ease the pressure off you.
Mm-hmm.
But that does not say that we accept you.
Mm-hmm.
You can be there, but we are observing you. Anything you do, we'll still observe you.
Right.
So you see, it's a big difference.
And we'll cut your children's dreadlocks off when you put them in the school. Right?
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Jamaica, give thanks we have broken that barriers,
Yeah.
because a youth can go to school with locks,
Mm-hmm.
but the parents have locks. So that's a thing too, which is changing. It's changing times in Jamaica. Most of the things are very good. So
Mm-hmm.
Rastafari can get work with locks too. Changing times. So
Yeah.
we can see what we have achieved so far.
Yeah.
But within that timeline of achievement, it is not time for you to relax. It's not
Mm-hmm.
time for you to say, yes, I need to demand more now since I'm there with you.
Mm-hmm.
You see, so when you are there in the status with them, you can write papers, you can be a director of a company, you can set policies. Or you're academically trained, you are qualified. So they don't look on you as lax anymore, and look on your brain now,
Right.
brain power. So
Mm-hmm.
since they say that Rastafari done are unintelligent and have no brain capacity, they have to take it back. We have a good brain just like them. We can do things, we can create things.
And even better, I might say, I might assert, is because if you're eating a clean diet, you're moving with clean, vibration, clean movement. you're going to be at a different level than most people today. I'm doing a research project right now on people that live on processed foods and all the anxiety and depression. So living within the Rastafari way with Ital foods and clean living and connected to nature and with more simplicity is only going to be exponentially more healing than living the opposite way. And
Exactly.
so the brain is
Exactly.
going to be much higher functioning
Hmm. Hmm.
without
So
this. Yeah.
I see that we have won many victories as Rastafari,
Hmm.
but we can't be complacent because that's not the objective. The objective is to be our true self,
Hmm.
away from these pressure zones on us, what to do, what not to do, and to rebuild sustainable Rastafari communities. Because still, we give thanks for science and technology where we can network.
Hmm.
Rastafari is in a global space. Because I'm getting emails from friends who say, oh, why we are Rasta, but where we live, we have no ancients, we have no tabernacle, we have no this and we have no that. So it's just to mobilize Rastafari within different spaces so you can strengthen those who need the strength.
Hmm.
We come back to financial capabilities. You have to set up an organization that is financially empowered, who have who are able to travel capabilities to go different places, like ambassadors then. So you
Hmm.
can travel to young Rastafari and say, this is a trad. This is what you're supposed to do. Give them guidance and leave them. Because that
Hmm.
was what Bongo Water do, that was what Bongo Time do, Bongo Chefan, they did all those things. Travel.
Yeah,
But
that would
those
be
are gone.
ideal.
Yes, yes, yes. Those ancestors, they trod out of flesh.
Hmm.
So we need to, that's why the Rastafari administration or even Baba Shan, the 12 tribe administration have to be intact.
Hmm.
The difference among them is causing a problem
Hmm.
because you can't be like church and state to divide.
Hmm.
Rastafari is Rastafari, and
Hmm.
they should see what to do to make it stronger, not to stay within your guidelines. I am this, I am that. This is my domain. It's
Hmm.
Babylon same way.
Hmm.
We look at it. That's Babylon division.
Right.
You over there, me over here. You have this constitution, you have yours. No, there's none. The constitution is what His Majesty say.
Hmm.
To him and the policy that he set. Yeah, we have different ways of life, yes. But when it comes to growing together now to make stronger, we're not seeing that.
Hmm.
But they are this generation have to make the difference, this generation.
Yeah.
Because the older generation are stepping out and leaving some templates to follow. We're not gonna be here forever. But we're
Right.
gonna need some guidelines. Like all those were handed down to me. I'm applying them to leave them to another generation to see the duties. So it's easier for them to
Hmm.
learn of what to do. Because many ones are in spaces that we can physically reach them. But we're glad for networking and internet connection so we can see
Hmm.
some things because people are rejecting present day societies
Hmm.
and they want an alternative.
Hmm. I
So
think a lot of people are rejecting it.
exactly.
A lot of people are rejecting it. A lot of people are waking up and saying, you know what? This is not working. I can't eat like this anymore. I'm tired of feeling sick. I'm tired of feeling tired. I'm tired of being pushed around. I'm tired of being told what kind of medical procedures I have to take and how you're going to close my business and how you're going to do all these various things. They're sick and tired of it. So either we're going to say we don't tolerate enslavement of any kind and that we're free and we're self-sufficient and we're highly conducting individuals with a high vibration, or we're going to bow down to colonialism and all the other ism schisms.
Exactly, because the domain of colonization is very, very deep and wide. And it's not easy to get out of it. But you can do collective things and stay away from it. If you are within a collectiveness of what you do, you can create your own communities, your own system, economic system, your own survival. So you don't have to depend on them anymore.
Yeah, grow
You
your
have to,
food.
you don't have to, You don't have to purchase anything from them because you have your own things.
So this was important for getting land, growing food, enriching your own soil. And since you can't typically do it by yourself, and even if you do, sometimes there's, weaknesses that will arrive, it's easier to do it with a pack, a group, a connected group, an affiliated group, people that have similar minds, similar heart, similar vibration, similar way of life. For me, Rastafari is very much a way of life that's embedded in my heart. And I don't want to work a 9-to-5 job. I don't want to get medical procedures done that most people do. I don't want to live that way. And I think Rastafari was, along with my grandmother, was a very big part of helping me to stay strong and stay firm in Babylon and say, no, I don't want that. I'll go away.
Yes, because, okay, look on Nyabingi lands and look on Rastafari lands then.
Mm-hmm.
How productive are these lands? How does they provide an economic survival like through agricultural needs? We don't have that. So even Jamaica, many ones have to go to the marketplace and buy this fertilized food.
Mm-hmm.
Where in Rastafari have lands that they could put into production. So you could go and get food at a discount, or you could get food free for the ancients.
Right.
So we're not thinking in that capacity. We learn to eat from your own vineyard, not from another man's vineyard, your own vineyard. So
Right.
within the collectiveness of the movement, you should have a farming community at least.
Mm-hmm.
That could keep you healthy and strong. Because
Right.
the food is your medicine. So you're
A
going to eat bad food.
right, non-hybridized, non-GMO farm with
Exactly.
strong soil. Otherwise, you're manipulating the body and the brain physiologically. Yeah.
Right. Because here we're blessed with sunshine. Very
Mhm.
nice sunshine and rain. We can do a lot with farming. But the properties that this is Rastafari communities that we say, that's you only go to chant a bingi and then you go home.
Mhm.
It's not about chanting a bingi to me. I put it on different levels. You have to go there for more than chanting a bingi.
Mhm.
You have to go there for self-sustenance. You have to go there for other things, fellowships and reasoning and so. So you shouldn't have the place locked down
Mhm.
because you want to chant a bingi.
Yeah.
You must have developed, just like Pinnacle, you have communities on the spot.
Mhm.
So you can stay. See? So we have to rethink the thing. If there are ancients who are unable to work, how will they survive? They
Mhm.
can't plant food. They can't use a fork. They can't use a machete. What they going to eat? You'll have to
Mhm.
have a source of food to give to them.
Right.
You'll have to have people trained
Yeah.
in therapies and things like that to care for them. We don't
Mhm.
have that. So people are heartbroken today because it is every man for himself and Rastafari for us all. It is
Mhm.
wrong. It's a collectiveness, collective security for surety. So it depends on how we view things, it depends on how we apply these teachings that we learn coming down to us.
Mhm.
Or one's breaking ranks, because of Babylon infiltrating the Rastafari movement and separating some from some and pushing outside some outside.
Mhm.
Look, we say ganja is the healing of the nation. We have no ganja rights. We agitate for ganja. We smoke it and we use it as an economic survival. Now
Mhm.
they say, okay, you can smoke, but there's no economic power for you. Oh
Right.
God. Why Babylon taking away your economic power from ganja?
Because there's a constant need to oppress.
Yes. So
Constantly.
yes, and then what is happening now? The Rastafari are not pooling their money, to get a
Mhm.
franchise Rastafari alone.
Mhm.
So the rich man who have money can get his own franchise to have
Right.
his Rastafari office or outlet. It's not Rastafari office. It's ganja outlet. He has enough money to pay for that.
Mhm.
So within all the wealth of the musicians, them or the ganja smokers,
Mhm.
they have not decided to pay into the space to own a Rastafari ganja business, or
Mm-hmm.
plantation. So how come you have so
Mm-hmm.
much money from playing reggae music and otherwise, and
Right.
you cannot create a 1,000 acre of ganja farm?
Right. All the money that some of these big artists made, and there's no ganja farm.
Exactly. The wrong approach to things.
Yeah.
So you make the bankers who can invest their money into ganja, well, even a lock you up for, you have to swallow a live spliff. Me know my brethren swallow the ganja spliff with the fire, swallow it down.
Mm.
Now we swallow it.
Mm.
Because when police are coming, some man boy can flick it, so you just swallow it. And
Yeah.
when it just go down. And we go
Yeah.
to prison 1 year and 6 months
Yeah.
just to smoking spliff. Me have friends who police scrape out in chalice the ashes and send him to prison. No
Yeah.
ganja not in there because it dust.
I've seen it with my son. I saw a police officer come and he said, I think this is, and he put it in his hand. He put it like this. And I said, I went over and I went like this. I said, just to kind of clown him a little bit. And I said, I don't know what you're talking. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Your son's got, some ganja right here. He had ganja in the car. I said, no, we just bought the car. It could have been someone else's. And it's probably a piece of carpet. But they will do anything to put pressure on so that you become destabilized, right?
Exactly.
Constant pressure. And there's a variety of ways that they use this pressure. The more powerful you become, the more pressure is applied. So they keep
Exactly.
the pressure. You don't want to know your name. You don't want to have access to resources. You don't want to have access to money. So you can't get powerful enough to support and sustain yourself. And the people around you aren't going to be able to be solid and stable enough for any long enough period of time to be able to create what you want to create. And I've seen this over and over with myself as well, right? Let's get a pack. Let's get the land. Let's get everybody over here. Let's get the babies out of the obedience centers. No schools. No, this. And it's destroyed time after time.
Yes, because the system and society, what we call Babylon system, it is not people, it's the administration that they manage. They're
Mm-hmm.
smart. They get
Mm-hmm.
cues from what you do, and they take out some, same free slave into a house slave and put them over there, and they have the bunch of majority one side, and then just create policies. And we
Mm-hmm.
are not smart enough to see, say, that's the plot. We knew it all along. That's why we say born Babylon system. But in a way, if he make you just feel a little more comfortable
Mm-hmm.
in what you do. And then you just accept that comfort zone, which is a temporary thing. It doesn't help you because
Mm-hmm.
you're still economically poor. You have nothing
Mm-hmm.
to survive from.
You're still oppressed. You're still pushed down. That's why we used to call down pressure, right? Down pressure, pressure man. Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So we knew all of that, but it's sad to see the movement at this level who is still struggling economically.
Yeah.
Educationally, we are good. I
Mm-hmm.
can't complain that level because I see many intellectual Rastafari in the space. Very brilliant, writing papers, doing a bunch of stuff, doing researches. Yes, fine.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you pull that intellectual capacity now to be economically strong?
Mm-hmm.
Because one nation. The
Mm-hmm.
nation can't be poor and
Right.
suffering. No, it's not a nation. You can't have a nation of poverty, Rasta.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't help. You keep begging for assistance and begging for care and begging for this. No, it should not be like that.
Shouldn't.
No. So we have to find ways, to fix it.
Yeah.
Because there's more pressure, squeezing you out of nothing. And that is why some people get brokenhearted and go other places and turn them back. Some are going to church, same as Christian now.
Right. Because the Christian church is going to feed you all your wheat and dairy and all the crap you need, right? They're going to just fill you up and kind of help you temporarily because it's about joining the club.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
If you join the club, then more members means more benefits. It's everyone's pooling their interests together. So if you can really be not smart, but be intuitive, you can realize that this is a much more healthy, nature-based, groundation-based type of a movement that offers something so much more, that needs the traction of having self-sufficiency through land and food and farming, gardening, and Wise Mind Publications. It needs more traction that way. And I think a lot of people are very hungry for that right now. They're very hungry for wanting to step outside of box life, cube life, wanting to step outside of all the industries that have been farming human beings, from medical industry to the financial industry, the education industry. It's called monopoly. And so it was very important to me that Ras Flako Tafari was here today to give us a little bit of light. And I'd like to actually maybe have him come back in a couple weeks or a month and talk just specifically about word sound power. He's got a great amount of wisdom around word sound power. For example, we typically don't say good morning or thank you, because when you walk up to someone else and you say thank you, it's different than give thanks, right? It's like saying go to bed. It doesn't even really make sense, but yet we just kind of acclimated ourselves to saying it. And we should say, why don't you go lie down or go lay down, It's different. So most of you know already, I'm sure, that words are spelling. They're made out of spelling, and that they're also fond of sentencing. They make sentences, but sentencing has another value to it besides just the grammar. So I'd like to, if Ras Flako Tafari is, open to that, in the future, do just an entire segment on word sound power, because it's very, very crucial. I think we'll wrap up for today, because I know people have lots of things to do, and I think that we've taken a lot of your time. So is there any last things you want to say about?
I give thanks for the opportunity. And in summary, we have work to do, bunch of work to do, and it's cooperation and what you can do from your own talents.
Mm-hmm.
That is important. And how best are you compatible with other people who see things just like you? So there's no conflict, because that is important too. Find a team that you could work with, and then you pool out resources and make Rastafari a better movement. Give thanks.
Exactly. Yeah, I believe so too. Well, give thanks everyone for joining us, and I hope that you'll like and share the video, and I hope that you'll spread the word about what Ras Flako Tafari has shared today, and maybe connect with him and start to kind of generate these ideas, start to understand them instead of just understand them, and bring them into your heart and see if they resonate with you. See if they feel right to you. It's not a cult. It's not asking you to join anything. It's just asking you to start to think outside the box. I think I might want to live more naturally. I think I might want to have ITAL food. You don't have to be a vegan or a vegetarian, like, Ras Flako said. You can be ITAL. You can live what you grow and what's seasonal and what's available, what's healthy and what's natural. It's not processed food. So I think that people are really, really hungry for that. And I look forward to seeing you again the next time with Word Sound Power, if it's something you're willing to do.
Yes, I will.
Okay. Well, give thanks and give
Rastafari.
thanks to everyone, and special, beautiful give thanks to you, Ras Flako. I appreciate everything.
Bless.
Okay. All right,
Yes,
listen
I
on.
give thanks.